Hello, and welcome back to A Little Birdie Told You. I'm your host, Kristen Knight.
And I'm your host, Kelly Knight.
And guess what we're talking about today, guys? We're going to be talking about
Mean Girls.
Our opinion on Mean Girls. And if you don't know what a Mean Girl is, then I don't really know what to tell you, because I'm not talking about the show. We're not talking about Mean Girls, the show. No, that's not what we're talking about. And that's not really what a Mean Girl is.
No.
I don't know why that's kind of a fabricated perspective that Mean Girls are like three girls that walk around the halls. Like,
no,
that's not what a Mean Girl is, at least in my perspective.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about this a little bit, guys, because I see a lot of this every day. In fact, I probably just saw it today.
Yeah.
And we're not going to talk about specific instances, but my opinion of Mean Girls is it's quite difficult and it's quite terrible, and we all go through it if we are a girl. If you were a girl, you probably went through this. You probably have had some Mean Girls. You could probably tell me right now that you've got a few Mean Girls in your life. So what is a Mean Girl? What do you think a Mean Girl is? At least to you. What do you define as a Mean Girl in your eyes?
Definitely somebody fake. Like, really, I mean, fake as heck, right? But just in general, somebody that's like backstabbing. That's like the first word that comes to mind. Just somebody that's backstabbing in general. That could look at you one day and be like, all smiling, be like, oh my gosh, hi. Like, hi, Kristen, how are you? And then the second you leave, they're like, oh, frick that girl. Like, I don't like her.
They're intensely fake. I mean, seriously, I can literally smell a Mean Girl from a mile away.
Smell a Mean Girl?
No, I'm not kidding. They're intensely fake. They come up to you and they
approach you. I feel like it's just
that
energy that they bring. It's just like, you're like, whoa, what is that?
They exude this energy that makes you feel like, am I being judged right now? Like, I feel like I'm so
grossed
criticized.
out. Like, I'm just like, oh, why are they, like, I don't even want to have a conversation with you.
And sometimes, unfortunately, you happen to be friends with them.
Yeah.
And you don't understand it until you're not friends with them anymore.
Yeah.
Because maybe you spent so much time with somebody and every day you trusted them, you told them your secrets, you gave them all this energy, and then something happens in between there. And maybe you don't even understand it. Maybe one day they completely just ghost you as a friend and don't communicate to you what they did, and they turn into this mean girl.
Yeah.
They backstab you. They talk terrible about you. They're now best friends with the girl that you told them that you did not like, that maybe did mean stuff to you. Now they're best friends with them. And it creates kind of this dynamic where you don't understand what you did, but they constantly make fun of you or talk bad about you, or it's just these groups of girls,
like
or it's just a girl.
And stuff.
Yeah,
like,
rumors. Exactly. It's always
I would say
that.
like also another thing just in general, when people are mean to you, it is because they are insecure about themselves. That is like a number one fact we always say. When people are mean or say things that they're like, oh, like, okay, for instance, somebody looked at Kristen and they're like, oh, I don't like your outfit or like your hair. They're probably jealous of it. And we always say this, but it is true. They're obviously jealous of you, or they're just very insecure about themselves, and they see that you're very confident and they're just like, she's too good.
Allow me to introduce you to the principles of a mean girl. A mean girl is usually a girl that is very insecure about themselves, and not only insecure about themselves, but maybe something you have is something they aspire to have.
Yeah.
If you're in a relationship, they may be jealous of that relationship. If
I
you're
think a lot of girls get jealous when you're in a relationship.
Yeah, it's true.
No matter if they're like your best friend. I swear, like every girl, like I even know, like gets jealous.
If you exude confidence, a lot of girls can be jealous of that because they don't have confidence. So usually if you're a girl and someone is very mean to you, intensely mean to you, passionately mean to you, and you find yourself constantly dealing with this one person, and you're like, why do they take all this time to talk bad about me? You know, if they talk bad about you, let me tell you guys something. Just understand that if they're going to take an ounce of their time out of their life to talk bad about you, then you must be very important to them. Because am I going to sit here and talk bad about somebody that I really don't care about?
No.
And
I'm not wasting my energy on that.
I'm just trying to enjoy my life and live peacefully. No, I'm not going to talk bad about you because I have better things to do. So if you're going to talk bad about somebody, if you're going to spread rumors about them, don't look at it as, oh my gosh, they're putting me through this miserable time. I'm so upset. Look at us. Wow, I must be the center of their world right now because they want to sit down and have a conversation about me. I feel like a celebrity in their eyes.
Another thing, though, is when somebody's backstabbing or they're talking bad about you, they are behind your back for a reason. They're not in front of you. They're behind you. Like, keep on walking. Don't sit there and stop and feel the need to stop and listen to them. Keep on going.
And you especially know if you're friends with a mean girl because you sit down and have a conversation with them. And this is how you know if you're friends with a mean girl. If I had a conversation with you right now, Kelly, and I was talking to you, and all of a sudden you started bringing up somebody else and putting them down as a person, criticizing them, judging them, making them feel bad, and trying to allow yourself to grow from that, I would automatically gather from that conversation, okay, so when I walk away right now, you're going to talk about me to whoever you're in the room with at that time. And they're going to do the same thing to you. Stop allowing yourself to become friends with people that talk bad about other people.
Yeah.
Think about that, because they're going to be talking about you when you walk away. When you walk away from that conversation, you're the next topic. And I express this to everyone because it's so essentially true that they're going to bring you up in the next conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if they're fake. They'll look at you and say, girl, I'm here for you. Especially a lot of the girls that say, hey, girl, that kind of for me is a little bit, I know you say that a little bit, but sometimes the girls that are very, it's not that they pretend to support girls.
Yeah, it's like that fake, like, girls support girls thing. And I feel like when you overload it and you overdo it, it kind of is like, are you hiding something? Like, are you, like, trying to hide something that, like, you don't want people to actually see?
Like a girl that's like, girl, you can tell me anything. If you've got boy problems, tell me, girl, I'm here for you.
That gives, like, I don't even know,
Exactly.
deja vu. I swear, girls will say that stuff. And some girls will be like, oh, you know, like, maybe some girls have just never been through fake friends or whatever, and then somebody says that to them. Do not. That is a red flag. Like, what in the heck? Like, I swear, a girl will say that, and the second you start saying something to them, that next day you end up finding out they talked very bad about you and took all that information, scrambled it up, and threw it to all of their friends. And you're like, what are you even talking about? Like, what?
Just allow them to talk bad about you. Don't allow it to get to you. Why allow somebody who's going to stoop at that level to have a conversation about you to make themselves feel better about themselves? Talk about you negatively to allow themselves to gather and feel a little bit better about themselves, because talking about you badly and putting you down makes them feel good. Don't stoop to that level. Don't talk bad about them. You know what? In fact, when they are mean to you, just look at them.
Smile. Just be like,
smile.
I don't
just
care.
Say, whatever. You know what? It's okay. I love me. That's why you got to love yourself, everyone. Because when you love yourself and you've got people that are trying to put you down, trying to hurt you, you can get back up and say, that didn't really hurt me much. I'm okay. I'm fine where I'm at. Thank you for trying. Thank you for trying. And I appreciate your efforts.
Yeah.
But it's not going to work here. And one thing is sometimes you want to feel empathy for these people.
Yeah.
And I will admit, a lot of girls are mean because they're insecure.
Yeah, and it's like you feel like, oh, I feel bad because, like, I was once in their shoes, but, like, also at the same time, they're talking bad about you, and they're gonna sit there and start rumors and stuff. Why even sit there and feel bad and give somebody your energy that's like that? Because the second you start putting the energy into somebody and feeling bad for them, I feel like it drains you. It really does. It's like draining.
They're
and
full
it makes
of toxicity.
Yeah, it really is. And then you're just like, oh my gosh, I can't even do that. I can't even feel bad.
But allow me to present everyone this question. Mean girls are mean because they're insecure, but some of us are insecure, and do we choose to be mean to other people based on that? No. I'm sure me and you both have went through our insecurities, but I chose to not be mean to other people because I felt that way. I felt other people were always so mean to me, and I never wanted anyone else to feel that way. So I always welcomed everyone.
I feel like in general, like, sorry for cutting
No,
out. I feel really bad now.
No,
but
go ahead.
In general, though, like, any of my insecurities, I was never that type of person. And there's, like, I'm not going to say names here, but there is girls that talk very bad about me and sit here and say that I cut girls down, or cut even just in general people down for, like, certain things. Deep down, it like literally makes me so upset about it, because it's like I'm that type of person that, like, I was very insecure about not having clear skin, so it's something that, like, stands out to me when I'm like, oh, when I see somebody that's having, like, a face, like, just in general, like, a breakout on their face, I'm that type of person that it's like, I'm not gonna bring it up to you. And, you know, there's those certain girls that are like, oh my god, your face is breaking out, like, that's so sad. I'm the type of girl that if you told me, like, oh, my face is breaking out, I'd be like, hey, this is all the skincare that I know. Like, let me help you out. FaceTime me. Go to the store. I'll tell you what to get. Like, that's the type of person I am. And then just in general, people, like, you know, those girls that are always like, they'll look in the mirror. They're just around you, and they always are like, oh my god, am I fat? Like, do I look skinny enough in this photo, or just this or that? And I feel like some girls just generally use you for, like, compliments, or sit there, like, validation for themselves, and it's not even using, that is another thing that like in general girls will do, just use you and use you, especially maybe they have another like girl best friend or maybe just a best friend in general that they sit there and use you for like rides somewhere, or maybe like at school they ask you for like a project, I don't know, random little things, right? It's like,
and they constantly seek validation.
yeah.
And then they can tempt you into finding validation through them, and you start to become one of them. If you hang around a mean girl, you can become a mean girl.
Yeah.
And don't become a mean girl. Don't, like I said, don't stoop to the level of that person. Don't allow yourself to absorb the energy of that person and project it on other people. You have a choice. You really do have a choice to either decide, oh, am I going to be somebody that's going to hurt other people because it makes me feel better? Or why don't I work on myself, on my insecurities? When I ever felt insecure about myself, one thing that I did is I always decided, okay, well, I'm going to either A, remain this way, or B, I can make a change. And a lot of us decide, oh, I'm too lazy to make a change, but cutting other people down makes me feel a little bit better because I notice their flaws. I notice the flaws that they have, as you said, skincare. Maybe someone has bad acne and breaks out. So when they see somebody that may have better skin than them, and maybe it's just because they look a little bit better that day with their skin. Maybe they're just having a good skincare day. And that doesn't dictate who you are as a person. That doesn't dictate how much you should perceive yourself as a beautiful person or an unattractive person. It really doesn't matter. But when they see somebody who may have other skin factors, they might look at them and say, oh, I noticed this flaw. They have they have a zit right there. They have acne here and this and that. And it makes them feel a little bit better about themselves. But instead you could look at that and say, okay, well, maybe I don't have the greatest skin, or maybe I feel this way about myself and that person looks a little bit better, this and that. Well, if you want to make yourself feel better, find ways to do that. If you want your skin to feel better, find ways to do that. Get a skincare product that suits you. Change your diet. Maybe there's something you're allergic to that's causing inflammation and you don't understand it yet. Or maybe sometimes even removing certain people from your life and stress can eliminate those that acne and those scars and things like that.
I'll be honest though, like I feel like, I mean, obviously I'm not going to say when this may have been, but in general, like I remember there was a time that I was like around a lot of toxic people, and like just like in general, like maybe I was in a toxic relationship, whatever, and like my skin was at its worst, and the second that everybody was like gone, poofed away, my skin looked amazing, and I was like what's going on here? Like I just saw a TikTok about that too, like in general, like the second you remove toxic people from your life, and some people might be like, oh yeah, like I've always had like really bad like acne, or just like really bad like, you know, just really bad like skin in general, like I've like always like, you know, whatever, makeup can also flare that stuff up too. But people never really think, maybe it's not the products you're using or how much makeup you're wearing. Sometimes it's the people you're around. People can really like mentally and physically drain you inside, like really. And it messes with your sleep. It messes with like just even like mental things and like your mental health and just your physical appearance. Like just in general, like your face will break out. You'll get like bloated and stuff, just things like that.
People don't understand, but the people you surround yourself or are the people that you become to absorb their energy.
Yeah, and the people that kind of build you. And sometimes it's not in a positive build way. Sometimes it's in a negative build way, and you have to watch.
So if you're surrounding yourself with these mean girls,
yeah,
you might start to feel the effects of these mean girls. You start becoming insecure about yourself, and maybe you use their tactics and cutting people down, and that's why we accumulate. And there's a majority of us now. There's a majority of mean girls, and when you are somebody who tends to stand out as somebody who is kind, who is sweet, let me tell you a little secret, because a lot of the kind and sweet people don't present themselves initially as that. And you know why? Is I'm somebody who's quite like this, and I think a lot of people can get the wrong impression of me when you initially meet me, is I'm not fake. I'm not going to come up to you and say, oh my gosh, hi girl, I'm here for you. I'm not going to be like that. And you know why? Because I'm never going to present to you myself as an unauthentic person. I'm somebody who I'm cut and dry, and I'm just like this. I'm going to sit down in front of you and have a conversation, and it might not be all sugar cupcakes and rainbows. It's going to be just who I am. I'm not going to tell you I'm going to be here for you right off the bat, because that's just not something you do unless you're trying to manipulate someone into believing you're this person that maybe you're not. I'm just going to be who I am, and you can gather the information. You can gather the information of me not playing the victim, because a lot of mean girls play the victim. They say, oh, I'm nice to everybody. I always say hi to everyone. That doesn't clarify if you're mean or nice or what you are. You just say hi to everybody. I don't say hi to everyone, and I wouldn't necessarily say I'm somebody who puts other people down. I don't judge people. I don't criticize somebody, and people might say, well, that's something a mean girl would say, but I believe that you just allow yourself to be who you are, and putting other people down and judging other people for who they are when you don't understand what's going on in their life. And I just admitted to you, mean girls are girls that are insecure. Maybe they have things going on in their life, and they aspire to have your life. And that's why you have to have a little empathy. But I am going to say they have the decision to make a choice.
Yeah.
And when you are somebody who's been hurt by other people, and you feel the pain of giving people your energy and them just turning it into themselves and backstabbing you and making you feel like you had nobody, making you feel like you have nobody in that moment. And when you go up to them, they don't even acknowledge you. They act like you're nobody, but yet they go around and tell everyone else, I'm here for you, hi. But then the person that was always there for them, that one friend, they turn around and they backstab. That tells you a lot about them. Yep. And they had the choice to keep that person in their life. They have the choice to still be nice to that person. You don't have to be friends with everybody. You don't have to be friends with somebody, but you can acknowledge them.
Yeah.
And playing the victim as a mean girl and saying, oh, well, nobody knows what's going on in my life, and I'm nice to everybody, and then yet you talk bad about everybody. How are you a nice girl? How are you a nice person?
The words aren't adding up with the actions.
You're contradicting what you're telling me, and the words aren't adding up to the actions. And we all know, if you listen to me and Kelly talk, words have to equal the actions for it to conclude for us. That's just something that's a basis, a principle of things adding up.
It shows who they are as a person, though. Like, if somebody sits there and they say, hey, like, I'm gonna, like, you want to hang out, right? And then the second, like, all of a sudden it comes to it, they cancel, right? Just things like that. Like, I don't even know. Like, the second you start doing that, I'm not even going to acknowledge you. Like, I really don't even want to deal with that, because that tells you much as a person.
And people might look at you and say you're mean for that.
Yeah.
They're going to classify you as a mean girl. And that's why girls talk about you and say, oh, Kelly's mean. Kelly's mean because she knows her boundaries. That makes her mean. And she doesn't deal with this type of stuff, and she doesn't waste her energy, so therefore she's a mean girl. She's not a mean girl. She knows her worth, so therefore she makes sure that she puts energy into herself before she gives it to people that don't care about her.
I'd rather hang out with myself than hang out with people that I don't want to turn into. Like, I don't want to hang out with people if I'm looking at them and I'm like, I don't want to be them. Like, not in a way of being selfish and being like, oh, like they're ugly or something. Not in that way. Like not physically, but like emotionally, the way that they act towards people and the way that they present themselves. If they're like sitting there acting like, oh, like fake or whatever, I don't even know, sitting here canceling plans and stuff, or just like in general, like acting like you don't even exist and that you're not even friends with them. I don't want to be around you. I'd rather much be around myself, because I love myself. I don't care what you have to think.
Their character.
Yeah, their character
really determines deciding if you want to be friends with them. And you will become these people if you spend time with them. So I definitely recommend detouring, becoming somebody, even if you want to be validated and you don't want to be rejected by these people. Maybe it's somebody you've always wanted to be friends with because other people perceive them as this really interesting person that everyone is mesmerized by. But why are you going to be friends with somebody who isn't kind to other people? And they don't have to be kind to other people, but kind to themselves, because to be honest, you're tearing yourself down when you're tearing other people down. You're not only tearing that person down, you might not even be tearing that person down, but you're allowing yourself to worry about somebody else when you could be allowing that energy to be put back into yourself and become a better person.
When you're sitting there worrying about somebody else, you're tearing yourself apart. And why would you sit there and do that to yourself when you could literally, don't put all that worry. Like, there's no use. Sit there and pray about it. Like, praying, there's two things that you can do, right? And only one is going to solve like the whole problem. If you sit there and worry about it, and you sit there and you overthink, or you sit there and you're just like, oh my gosh, like, what do I do? Or like, what's going to happen if I stop being friends with this person? Do you think that's going to solve your issue? No. If you sit there and you just let it be and be like, okay, everything happens. If I'm meant to be like around like this certain group of friends that maybe that you want to be friends with that are actually nice because you want to get away from all those mean girls, right? Or just in general, you're like, oh my gosh, like, I wish these girls would just stop talking bad or whatever. Things, just be like, all right, it's fine. I'll just pray about it. It's fine.
And if you're somebody who's struggling with mean girls and you're letting it get to you, build yourself up so immensely that when they even say the slightest thing, you're completely detoured from it where it doesn't even affect you at all. Just allow yourself to be so consumed in yourself that when they criticize you or make fun of a flaw that you have, you're unbothered.
Yep.
Be absolutely unbothered. And if you are a mean girl, maybe you don't want to admit it, we're not here to judge you. It's okay. But pick up the pieces that are making you project your insecurities onto other people and build yourself up so you don't have to act that way towards other people. You don't have to project. You can become a better person, not just for yourself, but for other people.